minute. Who are you?
Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Evan Money with JC the Blind Jedi.
Hey everybody.
We are here with your UFC 262 predictions. First, I want to talk about the review for 261. There was a little bit of an issue that he's working out with his camera. There's a new camera for him, so some of the stuff just didn't sync up properly and wasn't something that we felt we could put out there for you guys. Not the quality
it wasn't quality that we wanted. So, apologize for that.
But that's all right. We'll get it all figured out. You know, equipment issues are all part of the gig here. Let's get into it right out the gate. This right here, this card is for the it's for the vacant lightweight title.
Yeah, the 155 strap that Khabib Nurmagomedov had finally given up. What, about 2 months ago? Finally, he said,
"Yeah,
that's
finally."
It.
He officially was like, "Look, I'm done. That's it. I'm not coming back."
It was around the time that Kazmat got that win too. Remember that?
Yeah.
Where he just squeezed the kid until he gave up, and it was around that time where you saw him like, bam! You saw he was like, "Oh, I'm happy being a coach." So he gave up the strap. We were just talking though. We think he's still got something left coming back.
Yeah.
So, and fingers crossed. Hopefully that happens. But that's that. There's what, 5 fights on the main card tonight?
Yes, 5 fights.
We did lose one. We did lose
yes.
Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards, which broke my heart. Over the first fight, it's Matt Schnell versus Rogero Bontorin. Okay, there's not really a lot to say on either one of these guys.
This fight got moved up off of the prelims.
I kind of figured as much.
Because they did have another fight drop out and get pushed back. You know, Matt's coming off of a win, and Bontorin is coming off of a loss. This one, I will definitely say we're a little unprepared for because I didn't realize that this got moved up.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, this was not where it was a week ago when they were doing the UFC countdown or the Inside the Octagon that we were just watching. So,
but over here looking at Matt Schnell, he definitely appears to kind of be a little bit more of a submission guy. He is, like I said, he is coming off of a win. Unfortunately, it was a decision win in January. His last fight before that, he got knocked out in the first round back at the end of 2019.
Oh wow, that's a while since. So he's been gone for a while then.
Yeah. So,
ooh, this is more of a pick'em fight than really claiming that Schnell. Bontorin, he's been active. Yeah, he's been active, but when you're fighting on a really rough schedule like this here in 2020, the 2020 man, you can be made and broken in the same 6-month period. So you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take Schnell, even though I know he's got ring rust, hasn't fought, but in his last fight was a win. I'm gonna take Schnell. Just on the fact that he's probably the fresher of the two.
I'm going to take Bontorin, mainly on the fact of I mean, this is a case of American wrestling and jiu-jitsu versus Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and so this fight's definitely going to probably go to the ground at some point, and I think whoever can get the better of that exchange is going to win.
Okay, fair enough.
Again, we weren't super prepared.
Yeah, this
one,
wasn't one that we were thinking about when we were doing this one here when we were getting ready for this a couple days ago. Even earlier today, We weren't even really thinking about this one. We were still fighting about the early one. So,
so he's going with Schnell. I'm going with Von Toren.
We'll see who wins.
Yeah. So on to the next one. We have the always exciting Enson Barbosa versus Shane Burgos. And for me, this is not there's no question in it for me. I'm going Barbosa. You got to be a fool to pick against the guy who consistently gets the better of all the stand-up, and he's one of those guys where he puts it out there and doesn't care, has no care for himself on whether or not he loses. He's just like, hey,
he just reminds me of a little bit bigger Jose Aldo.
Yeah,
just incredible Muay Thai, really good striking. And a solid jiu-jitsu game, but he just hurts you before. If you decide to go to the ground, that's fine because the fight's ending quicker there. Because if you stand up with him, he will hurt you. He's got spinning back kicks that are just ruthless. He's got head kick knockouts. So yeah, I'm staying with Barbosa too. There's really no reason. I'm sorry, Burgos. I
mean, Burgos. He does have some notable wins, but again, the problem is with a guy like Enson, it's hard to bet against a guy who just throws reckless abandon out there and just goes, "Yeah, I'm coming for you. I'm looking to finish you," and there's nothing you can do about it. So, yeah,
Barbosa is a KG veteran, and the one thing that we have. We always try to pick rising stars over the veterans because we think the veterans are always on their way down. But Barbosa is one who hasn't shown that he's been punch drunk or that his chin's starting to show.
He doesn't look like he's slowing down.
He doesn't look like he's slowing down. He just looks like he's smart enough to stay in a fight for 15 minutes to win it, and regardless of what you think.
Yeah. Plus, this is Burgos' real first test. He's ranked number 9. But again, some of the names have been some of the older guys that he's beaten. So yeah, we're both going with Barbosa on this one.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. Okay, and so on to the next matchup. Our favorite name that we somehow end up saying every single time we do a review or a preview. Caitlin Chukagian versus Viviana Araujo.
Let's talk about Caitlin. No, I don't have a problem with Chukagian. We do just say her name quite a bit. I think the big thing here is, she
is a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
She's that level of her striking is strong enough to take I'm a good grappler and I've learned some good skills. She'll take those out. So you really either have to have better stand up than she does, or you need to be able to take her down and finish her on the ground, because she's good enough to keep herself steady. She pointed herself wins into a title shot, but okay.
I mean, she last lost against Andrade, so that tells you exactly all you really need to know. The one who just got beaten. So, for me, I'm definitely not going to go with Caitlin on this one. I'm definitely going with the hot hand. Vivian's coming off of 2 fights where she's gutted out decision wins. Caitlin's last win was also a decision against Calvillo. So again,
why did we watch that? Oh my god! I realize we watched that fight. Oh,
this definitely isn't. Again, this is probably not a exciting fight for anybody to watch. So we're just gonna. I'm going with
Viviana Araujo. Yeah, I'll take Araujo too. No, we've said her name too. She's like Bloody Mary now. She's gonna appear behind us. So
yeah.
Don't do that. You scared me.
All right, so on to the next one.
Talk about a real boogeyman. El Kukui. All right. So we have Tony Ferguson versus Beneil Dariush. And Man, okay, so let's get into this one. Tony Ferguson he had the roughest 2020 that you could ever have.
He's had the roughest couple of years. When you add in the injuries as well.
He really built up his reputation right before Khabib and the pandemic. And I think both of those things are really what have tarnished Tony's career. More than anything, is those two things have really hurt his career. Is the inactivity from all that, and then just these two things just kind of sidelining him. Because once he was able to fight again, first there was no fans for him to enjoy it, and secondly, he just got brutalized. Was it Justin that beat him?
Yeah, Gaethje beat the crap out of him.
Yeah, it was Gaethje who beat the crap out of him, and then he went to go see Oliveira, and it just got worse.
Yeah, what he's been facing, aside from the halted stop and goes, he's been at the top of the division for so long, and coming off of basically back-to-back losses against two of the top guys in the division.
That's 2 and 3 right there.
Yeah, there's no reason to be like,
he's over.
Yeah,
this is
done.
It. He's done.
But the big thing is you look at it and it's like, even I'm just loading up more and more of his fights here. It's like, he's gone through Dos Anjos, he's gone through Kevin Lee, he's gone through Anthony Pettis and Cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah.
And that entire time, you have 5 fights that got canceled between him and Khabib, due to one of them getting injured. And even though he got beat up by Gaethje, he didn't get dropped until the 5th round.
No, he didn't even get dropped. Remember that? He was just like, dude, that's enough. I'm tired of getting punched in the face. He waved off.
And then, with Oliveira, it was just a decision loss. So it's like,
his heart was not giving up. He was like, you can break my arm off and hit me with it, but I'm not going to give up. But Beneil Dariush. Okay.
Dariush is on the up.
Yeah,
he's on the come up.
He is streaking right now. He just got? Okay, so he beat Miguel Ferreira.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one that everybody thought was going to go a longer time than it did, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And then he's just been beating up the guys through Fight Night ranks, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Which is good. And here's another thing is he's been slowly building up a solid resume, while Tony's had just spotlightitis, I guess would be because he's in the spotlight, he has to deal with all the things that come with it, and I think it's weighed him down more than anything else. Whereas Dariush, he's just been building up a steady resume.
Just looking at kind of how his fights have gone for him. He hasn't lost since, what is this? I think it was what? Oh, jeez. Lost my spot. It was 2016, I believe, is what it was.
Yeah.
And it was against a guy who completely got embarrassed by Cowboy and Alex Hernandez, who talked a bunch of shit and then got just destroyed by Cowboy. No, it's 2018. 2018.
Okay, so 3 years ago.
So, and aside from that, it's been decision, submission, KO, decision. So, again, he's on his way up. I think this is a good co-main event.
Yes, this will be this should be an exciting co-main event.
This guy, either one of these guys could take the loser of the main event, I feel, and I would be okay with that matchup. I would be okay with it, because obviously, we'll talk about the main event outcome, but I don't know. I'm gonna go with Ferguson getting back on track.
Yeah, you said he changed up his camp again.
Yeah.
And he went back to a lot of his basics.
So,
which is what you really need to do if your current formula isn't working, you need to break it down and rework it.
Yeah.
$6 million man it. I'm gonna go ahead and take Darush for the streak for right now. I don't know. I don't want to say that this is where Tony's starting to look, Tony's chin is starting to look suspect and he's starting to show his age. But I'm kind of getting to that point right now. This is two losses by two guys, but these are two guys that took years off of his body.
Yeah, and one of them's fighting in the main event. So Darush is the favorite, so there is that. So even Vegas believes that, the blind Jedi is using the Force and seeing the right connection. So, so on to the main event. We got Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler.
Oh man!
Now this one we've had a hard time picking. Both of us. We've been talking about this off camera. The conversation got so intense, he had to take off his jacket because he was sweating from trying to make this decision.
Yeah, this is a hard one. This really is a hard one. We've watched both of these guys extensively.
We both really love both fighters. Honestly, no matter what the outcome is, this is going to be an amazing fight, and we're going to be happy with the outcome because
whoever wins, new champion.
Yeah.
Whoever loses, he's coming right back.
Yeah. So okay, so let's do this. Shall
we go over?
Let's go over them one at a time here. Okay, so let's talk about the official UFC veteran here, in Charles Oliveira. First off, this is a guy that can get it done everywhere.
He's been in the UFC forever. He was totally a journeyman. I can remember watching him. I believe he lost a fight to, I want to say Matt Hughes, or I can't remember, but he did lose a fight at 145.
It was to Max Holloway.
Was it to Max Holloway?
Yes.
It was to Max Holloway. Okay, so that was then.
That's 145 Max Holloway.
Yeah, that was 145 Max Holloway and 145 Charles Oliveira. Here we have 155 Oliveira at probably about 10 years later. This is a whole different Charles Oliveira. This is a guy who has been seasoned. This is a guy who has been putting on a tear. He's got the most submissions
in UFC history, for any division, any weight class, whatever. Don't mind me typing. Unfortunately, you can't just go to.
There's not a big
UFC thing for Michael Chandler, seeing as he was in Bellator for so long. Anyway, so yeah, back to Oliveira. He last lost to Max Holloway, like we had said, back in 2015. Now, listen to this list. The names of the people that Oliveira has beaten, though, since losing to Holloway. We're talking about guys like Miles Jury, Anthony Pettis,
Ricardo Lamas,
yeah.
There's Brooks, there's Michael Felder, there's Clay Guida.
I mean, Jim Miller, the guy who said, "Take care of your underwears, man, because I'm gonna fuck you," to Cody Garbrandt. Kevin Lee and Tony Ferguson. So, I mean, he's done it in such a fashion that
he shows up out of nowhere and all of a sudden we're like, oh yeah, we forgot about this guy. He's been quietly beating everybody.
Yeah. He's been somebody who's been in the contender area for a long time, and people just keep overlooking him. And I think a lot of that has to do with, the 155ers like to talk, and Oliveira doesn't speak English.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of holds it back, why people don't pay attention to him as much. But I mean, the proof is in the pudding. The guy dominates people.
Yeah,
and
soft spoken. Speak softly, carry a big stick. Whatever metaphor you want right here, this is it. He is the silent assassin in this one. But we got Missouri home pride.
Yeah, looking at Michael Chandler, obviously we did the review and the prediction for his debut. But let's talk about the character of the man that he is. I mean, he gets signed by the UFC, willingly steps in as the backup to Gaethje versus Khabib, and nobody else would take that. Khabib and Gaethje are killers. I mean, what they do to people should be against the law.
It is outside of the UFC.
Yeah.
What they do to people is illegal totally outside of the UFC.
So, I mean, the big thing is he definitely showed up, and
the character of the man is unquestionable.
Yeah, he looked great against Hooker. He's a short guy, short wrestler, which, you've never been a big fan of, but he had kind of, he uses it well.
See, it's not that I don't like wrestling, because there are times where I'll pick a wrestler over a jiu-jitsu guy.
Well, I said short wrestlers.
Okay.
Short wrestlers.
And it's not really I don't have a thing against short wrestlers. I am curious how a short wrestler, I think it does work in Chandler, because he's a short wrestler, which means that he wants to stay on top. Wrestlers like to stay on top.
Yeah.
He's a guy that looks like he stays on top. He's also the guy that's small enough that where if he's on the bottom, he's going to figure out a way to get back on top.
Yeah.
This is where I think Chandler does excel in wrestling. I'm not a personal fan of small wrestlers. I especially when they're going up against a tall, lanky guy, like going up against Oliveira. But I do think Chandler does have the tools. He's incredibly explosive, smart, very, very well versed, high IQ. Oh my God, he's got a very, very smart fight IQ. Wrestling ever since he was like weed to the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to those type tournaments and everything like that. When I was wrestling in high school, you go to those invitational tournaments and they got like 4 to 5 year olds wrestling. That's him.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's probably been a wrestler all of his life, and then he picked up the fighting aspect of it, and he's going to be a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous man. Not only that, Chandler proved how you beat size in his first fight in the UFC.
Yeah, the way he approached Hooker was
brilliant.
Very good.
It was brilliant.
You used the perfect word. He was kind of stalking him, and Hooker definitely played a little bit more passive, and he used the fact that, hey, when I'm throwing a body shot, I mean, you're not seeing it coming because of how short he is. Dude,
there was, 4 or 5 exchanges before the hit?
Yeah.
Okay, and in each one of those exchanges, Chandler pushed him against the cage, and he tried to come back, and every time he came back, he kept on moving him, and it punched back into the ring. He could not get out of that position.
No.
And it was over. It was over in a matter of moments. That is a predator in every way, shape, and form. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, and he finished it in incredible fashion. Just incredible fashion.
His last loss, just looking at it, was to what is now considered Bellator's pound for pound #1 guy.
Oh, okay.
So you can't. Again, he lost by TKO, and then he went out, won his last 3 fights, obviously. So I mean, it's not like a loss is like super damning to him. But again, his fight IQ is through the roof, and he's super hungry. He wants to show everybody that it wasn't a fluke what he did in Bellator. I know we would kind of look at it as like a, I guess like a lesser organization, but they do have a lot of good talent over there. And so, yeah, for me, I think that, I mean, I'm just looking now, he's been competing at basically 155 since 2006. So there's not a whole lot, and he's had a couple of catchweight fights at 165, which is probably what he walks into the ring.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he didn't eat pizza the night before and he made weight.
Yeah, so again, like I said, I don't think either one of us are going to be upset with however this fight turns out. I think we're both just extremely excited to see
a new lightweight champion.
Yeah, because, and again, we're looking at two guys that not a whole lot of people know a lot about, unless you've been paying attention to the UFC. This isn't Dustin Poirier or Conor McGregor or Gaethje or Ferguson, you know.
But these are the two guys that deserve deserve it.
Outside of Poirier, absolutely. These two guys definitely deserve this matchup here. So, who are you taking?
Okay, so at this point, I'm going to take Michael Chandler. I had been giving him grief saying that I was going to pick Oliveira, but quite honestly, I have got to pick the hometown boy. Not that I don't think Oliveira can win this one. I have a very sneaking suspicion about Chandler's power. And that's the key, I think, here. I think there's going to be some hard exchanges. I think both these guys are going to tag each other. But I think we saw this in the Figueiredo fight where we could see they were both hitting each other and hurting each other. But Figueiredo just got a little bit better of those exchanges, if you remember that fight.
Yeah.
And this is where I think Chandler is going to do this too. I think he's just going to get a little bit more of those good exchanges. I am wanting a barn burner of a fight. And I'm hoping that's what we get. And I'm hoping that Chandler pulls this one out.
I'm going to go with Oliveira just for the sake of, arguing here. But again, I'm not going to be surprised if Chandler wins this. This is one I'm going to kick my feet up, and
no matter who wins, we're gonna celebrate no matter who wins this fight. No matter who wins this fight, it's like the very first Ultimate Fighter finale.
Yeah. And
so what? You know what? Great job. Clap. Everybody enjoys it, and you know what? We're gonna see both these guys fight again. That's the great thing about it.
And I think in all reality, I think winner of this will potentially get Dustin Poirier. I don't know if Poirier will win the trilogy fight with Conor, but I don't think if Conor wins, I don't think he'll get the title shot. But you never know. The fight game is a cruel bitch, and
yes, it is.
So if Conor wins decisively, then maybe, I don't know. So, but yeah, I think this is going to be a great card. Aside from our good old friend Kalen Chikagian,
we may be in the garage for that one.
I am sorry. I am just completely flaccid for that one.
We'll try, and for the review, we'll try and be excited, but we're going to have to come up with a pet name for her because we're tired of saying Chikagian.
This is going to be us right here.
I'm trying to get excited.
I mean, that's how we're going to feel about it, really. And, so, I don't know. I think, like I said, I think this is going to be a great card. I think the main event is going to be one of the best main events. Could potentially be one of the best fights, and fight of the year for sure.
We're looking at a potential fight of the year, maybe, one of the top 10 fights of all time.
Yeah. So, I'm Evan Money. This is JC the Blind Jedi, and we'll see you with our review.